Hey everyone, welcome back. We got a nice video here. It's pretty short, so this won't be a long video. I've been recently seeing these videos from a preacher slash motivational speaker. I don't even know. His name's Frank Turek, and I'm probably going to be talking about him for quite a few videos. He is someone that I see never answer a question. It's amazing. He's great at it. He will not answer your question. This guy here in the blue, he's going to ask some pretty tough questions. I don't know if these guys are just plants in the audience because they just accept his answers sometimes without him really even answering the question. So I'm going to be quiet here and then give my thoughts at the end of the video this time. So you can kind of listen to it and come up with your own thoughts and maybe pause and post your comments before the end of the video when you get to hear my thoughts on it. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank. My name is James. I have a couple questions
Yes,
for you.
James.
If you can get through both of them,
Sure, go
that'd
ahead.
be great. If death entered the world through one man and it was all encompassing, and eternal life entered the world through one man, Jesus, then why would it be exclusive?
What do you mean exclusive?
I believe what's meant by exclusive is why is it only available to, I guess, people who accept it?
Because God's not going to force anybody into heaven against their will. In fact, maybe a little story will help with this. A number of years ago, I was at the University of Michigan debating an atheist by the name of Eddie Tabash, and during the debate, he asked me a question. He said, Frank, my mother was a survivor of the Holocaust. She lived a life full of pain and suffering. Toward the end of her life, someone offered her the gospel, but then she died. Is she in hell right now? So I said, Eddie, I don't know where your mother is now. I don't know if she had a deathbed conversion or not, but if she didn't accept Christ before she died, then Christ or God is too loving to force her into heaven against her will. Because what's the assumption behind the question? The assumption behind the question is that everybody wants to be in heaven. That's not true. Who's in heaven? Jesus is in heaven. There have been people running from Jesus their entire lives. What's he going to do in the afterlife? Hey, where are you going? You're with me now. No. You say, well, what's all this business about hell then? Well, I asked a question of the University of Michigan audience. I'll ask the question here of the Boise State audience. It's a question for the ladies. Ladies, have you ever had a young man pursue you whom you did not want to date? Some of you going, yeah, and he's sitting next to me right now. He will not leave me alone. Whenever I ask that question, the ladies always giggle and the men look at their shoes. She looking at me right now? Well, ladies, suppose he keeps asking you out, and you finally say, look, I like you, but only as a friend. Oh, ladies, why don't you just stick the knife in and turn it? Every man has heard the dreaded friend rejection. Gentlemen, if you ever get the dreaded friend rejection, move on. She's not interested. In fact, I have some shocking news for you. She doesn't even like you as a friend. Ladies, am I right? Yeah? You're just trying to be nice, aren't you? But you don't like him as a friend, because if you did, you'd be interested, but you're not. But suppose this doesn't deter the guy. He keeps asking, and he finally says, look, I love you so much, I'm going to force you to love me. Can he do that? No, run screaming from the building. He can't force you to do that. If he truly did love you, what would he do? He would leave you alone. That's what God does for us. He sends us cards, letters, and flowers. He sends us creation. He sends us conscience. He sends us Christ. He sends us the Bible. If you're in a far-off land as a Muslim and you want to know the truth, God may give you a dream or a vision. That's all over the Muslim lands now. But if you keep saying no, 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 no to that, God is going to give you up to your own desires. He's going to leave you alone, because that's what God does. Just like that man pursuing you. If he were to love you, he would leave you alone because you don't want him. So that's what God ultimately does. He leaves us alone. And Paul says this in Romans chapter 1. He says, if you suppress the truth long enough about God, God will give you up to your own desires to the point that you have a futile mind and you're cheering on other people who are doing evil. Notice our culture right now. They're cheering on people who are doing evil. You say, well, what could be so bad about being separated from God? Because that's what hell is. Well, I want you to realize that everybody, whether they're a Christian or not, gets some of the common grace of God. His rain falls on the just and the unjust. We all experience love, hope for a future, relationships, whether we're Christians or not. But I want you to imagine a place where there is no love, where there is no hope, where there is no future, where there are no relationships, where there's just stone, cold, narcissistic self-absorption. That is Washington. No, that is hell. You're cut off from the ultimate source of goodness by your own choice. And so as C.S. Lewis put it, in the end, there's only two kinds of people. Those who say to God, thy will be done, and those to whom God says, thy will be done. God is going to separate himself. It is open to everybody, but not everybody wants it. Does that make sense?
Okay, that was short and sweet. What I want us to do right now is go back to the beginning, listen to the question, and I want you to really think about if this man answered his question at all. I'm going to say no, and then I'm going to explain why after we hear the question.
Easy. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank. My name is James. I have a couple questions
Yes,
for you.
James.
If you can get through both of them,
Sure, go ahead.
that'd be great. If death entered the world through one man and it was all encompassing, and eternal life entered the world through one man, Jesus, then why would it be exclusive?
What do you mean exclusive?
I believe what's meant by exclusive is why is it only available to, I guess, people who accept it?
Once again, I want to say great question. And I want to point out that if you listened, Frank Turek never answers the question directly. He sidesteps it by getting an emotional anecdote. He focuses on hell, but he never directly gets to the meat of the question. And the question is a very good question. The gentleman here is saying that, and to me, he is saying that we are condemned without a choice. Ever since Adam and Eve, we are born sinners. I would even say that it was unfair that Adam and Eve got punished either. They did not ask to be here. So right there is no choice. So what I'm hearing from this gentleman is God seems to give some choices, but then takes away your choices in a way. And then you get blamed when you did not have a choice, which to me points to the directions of these stories are just man-made, and that's why they contradict them. The stories contradict themselves. That's exactly why, because they're man-made. So we have to choose Jesus, but we did not have to choose to be born. We had no choice in that matter. So this question is very, very deep. And I think the Frank Turek guy he knows it's deep, which is why he starts to create the distraction of laughter. It's a very good thing to do when you're trying to be a speaker and kind of take control of the crowd is, you distract them from answers that you can't really give, instead of just being honest and him just saying he doesn't know. And that it doesn't make sense. He has to come up with an answer. These guys all came to see him. So the pressure's on him to do that as well. So he just avoids the whole conversation and then appeals to emotion. It's a very manipulative, whatever, tactic. And it's because all we can do is use human stories to explain something that is supposed to be beyond us, which in its own doesn't make sense. That's why human stories are usually incapable of explaining like what's true in the universe. Our stories, we don't have the knowledge really to explain like these great, great mysteries of the universe, and this is one of them. And to me, he's just lying about knowing the truth. I think deep down he knows that he doesn't know the truth, and he just wants to believe this so bad. And I think this is part of the problem. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of this. This is a very short one, and I just wanted to still talk about this because I thought this was a great, great question. Why did we not get a choice to come here? Then we get punished. And then we get punished if we don't make a choice to choose to believe. So it doesn't make sense. It's probably because it's not true.